Hey guys, this is Amelia and this is Walter. He's a 4-year-old. He's very cute. So today I wanted to talk to you guys about how to properly bridle your horse, which seems like a basic thing, but it's also a really important thing to do correctly. So the first thing that you need to be able to do is you need to be able to get your horse to put their head down. And I'm realizing that with this horse, he doesn't drop his head as nicely as he should. So what you want is you're going to put one hand on their poll and then one hand on the halter. I like rope halters because they have a little more bite to them than just a regular nylon halter. So I'm going to apply a little pressure on his poll and also a little downward pressure on the halter. And every time, like you saw him lower his neck even an inch there, then I'm going to release the pressure. And then I'm going to put a little pressure again on the top of his head and on that halter. And you can go like where he's kind of looking off. He's a little distracted up here, a little side to side. There, he dropped, and then I release. So you kind of start it incrementally. Now he's going to put his head up again, and then I'm going to put my hand in there. So that's what you want, that when you put your hand on their poll and on their head, that they would just gently lower that neck. I see a lot of people that use, you know, a mounting block to bridle their horse, and their horse's head is like way up here, but if you think about it, when they eat, they put their head to the ground. So there's no reason that they shouldn't just be able to drop their neck. Hey, he likes to put everything in his mouth too because he's 4. But there's no reason that they shouldn't be able to drop their neck down to the ground so that you can bridle them. And this is also a safety thing. You know, if their head's up, it's way more likely that they're going to get away from you or that something bad could happen. The one thing to be careful of when you're trying to drop their head down is make sure you stay away from their head. Like a lot of people get like this. If your head is above their head and they like put their head up quickly, they're going to hit you in the head and you're going to get really hurt. So their heads weigh a lot. Okay, so then once you kind of know that your horse can drop their head down. Normally I bridle my horse there in the cross ties, but same thing, you want to take the cross ties off. You don't want to have the cross ties on. Then I'm going to ask my horse to drop his head. Then I'm going to put the reins over his head. This is a safety thing too, because if he accidentally like spooks or runs off when I only have the halter on, it gives you another thing to grab onto. Then I'm going to slide the halter and connect it just around his neck. So it's important that like here, you don't want to just take everything off, because if your horse, you know, like if he looks off or starts to leave, you need to be able to get him back. So then I'm going to ask him to drop that neck down. I'm going to put my right hand between his ears. I'm going to grab the bridle with my right hand. And then I'm going to put my left thumb in the corner of his mouth and ask him to open and slide the bit in. You want to try not to bump the bit on their teeth, because that can be, I mean, you can imagine having metal hit against your teeth. That's not very comfortable. Now this is the other important thing. So with the ears, you don't want to like bend their ears. Like a lot of people do this, they grab their ear and they pull it through and they bend their ear, but just try that. Like if you squash your ear, it hurts because it's cartilage. So you need to point the ear straight forward and then slide the bridle over so that you don't bend their ear. If you bend their ear, they're gonna not want to let you put the bridle on. So I'll show you again. Ear forward and then bridle over. So, and then make sure that the forelock and the mane are not in a knot on their poll. So that's, you know, to me, those are really the 2 important things. 1, that your horse drops their neck, and then 2, that you don't bend their ears when you put the bridle on. And you know, bridling your horse, it might seem like a trivial thing, but it's also a place where you kind of establish submission, that they drop their neck, that they focus, that they're with you, you know, that they're not looking around and trying to leave you. And then also just establishing that trust. Like a lot of young horses don't want you to touch their ears. They're not very trustworthy about that. So that's an important thing to get that trust that they let you touch their ears. So those are some tips for how to bridle your horse.